With the economy still struggling and jobs difficult to find, young adults are searching for innovative ways to use their talents and education. For more than 60 years, the United Methodist Church has offered that opportunity to do just that through its US2 program that places young adults in a United States mission setting for 2 years. Let's meet Joe Hopkins and Misted Tsai, who have both been missionaries at Interfaith Worker Justice on Chicago's North Side. Thank you, Joe and Misted, for joining us on this program. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure.
And Joe, let's start with you. You have completed the US2 program. Tell us a little bit about that and what experience that was for you.
It was an amazing experience to talk about how I got into the US2 program more than 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago now. I was looking for something to do after graduating from college. I kind of wanted to help the world somehow. I had an inkling. I wanted to go to seminary. But after 4 years of the academy, I wanted to get my hands dirty. Somehow, a bunch of wise people back in Pennsylvania, where I'm originally from, told me, you should check out this US2 program. It's through the mission agency of the United Methodist Church.
You'd never heard of it before?
Never heard of it before, which we definitely need to work on a little bit. But it fit me so well, or I fit it so well, or God fit me into it so well. It's been a transformational experience where I could really find what my ministry in the future, after I finish seminary, will be like.
Well, what really drew you to this program?
It was a couple of factors. One, I got to stay in the United States. I had spent a semester abroad in Argentina, and I had hung out with Argentine Methodists down there, and they embraced their lives for social justice and political lives very, very well, and made me think, shoot, why aren't we doing this back in the United States? We can do that sort of thing. I could go to the other side of the world and seek social justice, but I can also do it right here in a context that I already know, at least a little bit. So that was the first thing that I loved about the US2 program. It also gives a good bit of security. I know that there are people that know me and know my tradition, know my faith pretty well. So I knew that I was going to be well taken care of. It was still a big step in faith to go and do that, but it was really wonderful.
Misted, what drew you to the program?
Well, for me, I just like the program's emphasis on faith and social justice. And so I went to the University of Maryland, College Park, and I majored in sociology. And so I was already engaging in sociological thought about social justice, sexism, racism, classism, all these kind of isms. And I wanted to connect that with my faith, because also my faith, and I like theology as well, my faith and theology for me was very important. And so I wanted a program that emphasizes both faith and justice. And so the US2 program was looked very beautiful to me, and that there was something I felt like I could grow in, and that it complemented both the faith and the justice part of myself that I wanted to emphasize.
Well, talk a little bit about Interfaith Worker Justice. What are you guys doing? How is this program working in that field, and a little bit more about that experience? I
was commissioned this past August, in August 2012, and so I've been there for a couple months. And for me, I found that Interfaith Worker Justice is that social justice because it's systemically exchanged. And so we're talking about an organization, a nonprofit organization that is trying to alleviate suffering through helping individuals get their wages, better benefits, and health care, and other important things like that. And so their mission is to kind of rally up, educate, advocate, and organize communities of faith to advocate for workers' rights and worker justice. And so for that, they're systemically trying to help people get their earned wages. And so then you talk about homelessness and poverty, and so these are things that we can, they are trying to end by helping the individual person get their wages.
And Joe, tell us a little bit about your experiences with Interfaith Worker Justice.
Well, I actually had the same job that Misted has now, working with the National Network of Workers Centers, going from Maine to Los Angeles, from San Francisco to Miami. So it's a lot of different communities. And workers' centers are these nonprofit organizations, usually pretty small, that reach out to low-wage, usually immigrant workers that, by and large, are the most abused and exploited in our North American society. It provides a place, a safe place, where low-wage workers can go learn how to handle the issues that they're facing in their work: discrimination, wage theft. We can talk a little bit more about that. We can talk all day about wage theft if you want. But they can learn about how they can handle their personal situations, but even more importantly, they learn how they can band together with their co-workers and other people in the community for greater justice and dignity in their workplaces.
So it's making a difference? Have you seen that?
Absolutely. In Chicago, there's a wonderful organization called Arise Chicago who have been helping a lot of different workers in a lot of different communities. I think they're the only workers center that does both Spanish language and Polish language organizing. And so I have seen, I've seen firsthand how workers can go from thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? My life is falling apart because I just am not getting the money that I thought I was going to get from my employer, to learning that they have agency. We talk about a lot how everyone's made in the image of God, and that's very empowering. And that's something that Arise Chicago is doing right now in a car wash worker campaign. It's very exciting.
Well, tell me a little bit how US2 has challenged you. Instead, maybe you can start with that since you're just starting this. What challenges to your life have you found?
And so sort of the program is, some of the program emphasizes simplicity, and so simplistic living. And I think, you know, that's something that we're not used to. And sort of, you know, being in a capitalistic society, how do we say that, do I really need this? And so for us, you know, having being placed in a setting where we're away from our families, our friends, and being put in a new location, that all, including with our simplistic living, that is something different. But it's supposed to emphasize how, you know, other people may not have as more. And so if there are some individuals who are not making ends meet, it actually gives you more sympathy, and then you can relate. And so it helps you connect with it. And sort of the program we talk about is ministry with. It's ministry about, you know, it's not ministry talking to, but it's ministry with, that you are learning from them and they're learning from you, whatever community you're with, whatever individuals you're with. It's about equally learning, and I think that's also why I like about the program.
And how has it changed or shaped or even strengthened your faith?
For me, I've now, like, I'm being more conscious, and I feel like the General Board of Global Ministries, it's about connecting people and individuals and church into mission. And so for me, it's connecting me into mission. And I think that mission is very important for Christians all around. You don't have to have be a missionary you can be a missionary just like a US2, and, you know, but also in your normal lives, and to make change, because I think everyone is meant to be a missionary. It's how we live each of our lives and each of the days of our lives, because if are we serving God, and what do we see as the issue in our community and making change? And so this is also a great opportunity that I've been able to explore that and help out with that.
And Joe, I know it's changed your faith, or I guess strengthened your faith, because you're now in seminary?
Yeah, that's right. I am in seminary. Very exciting. I think the thing that I learned and challenged me most personally was seeing how church and how God moves in people that aren't necessarily folks you see in the pews a lot of the time. It's at Interfaith Worker Justice, it is explicitly interfaith, but there's a lot of other organizations that I've also worked with that aren't as explicitly interfaith, but you can very clearly see the Holy Spirit moving in that way. They're working for justice. They are serving the least, the lost, and the last.
Thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing more about this program. I hope it enlightens someone else to maybe get inquired about it and find out a little bit more about it. So thank you both. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Anne Marie Gerhardt for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.